Hello, everybody, and welcome to the podcast. Today we'll be talking about the earthquakes that has currently happened or like recently. We have a very special guest, and his name is Nestor Mendez.
Hi. Yeah, it was very rough. I was in the accidents. There was a couple of earthquakes, and I was part of one of them. But I'm very, grateful that I prepared first. And I had a backpack, with lots of stuff in it. I had water, the essentials. You always got to stay ready for anything that's about to happen. Like I'm very glad that I was prepared. My neighbors though weren't as fortunate. They didn't prepare. They didn't think ahead, and they unfortunately had a rough time going through the earthquake. I'm not gonna hold you.
Hey Nestor, did one of your family members died when the earthquake was happening?
No, thankfully, nah. None of my family members died. I'm so grateful. God bless, so grateful. But if one of them were to die, it would have been my brother.
So, anyways, back to like the very beginning of this interview. What did you bring with you? Since you did say that you did bring your stuff with you and how you like use your phone and all that, I kind of want to know that what do you bring with you? Since you said you brought a backpack with you, what was inside the backpack?
So yeah, obviously, of course, only the essentials. In my backpack, I brought water, food, snacks. But the food, some canned food, stuff that'll last me. Um, I also brought the flare gun, just in case you never know. I brought a med kit. I also stored in there some thin blankets just in case. And I stored a flashlight, AA batteries, also a radio. You know, you don't want to stay disconnected from the outside world. Thanks to the radio, I did know what was going on outside. I knew that people were coming over, but it was very nice to have it.
Now, during an earthquake, it is very important to practice drop and covering. Now, earthquakes are very, very unexpected. They can literally happen anytime, anywhere. But it's very important to memorize that you should always find any type of cover, whether it's under your bed or under a desk. It is very important to protect your head and cover yourself. So when you hear about earthquakes magnitudes, specifically like in news, it is easy to think a magnitude 6 is like worse than a magnitude 5. But earthquake scales don't work like normal numbers. They are mostly used by exponentials. Every single whole number you can go up actually it multiplies with the physical shaking in the ground by 10. So if you think like since the earthquake that Nestor experienced, which was a 6.7 magnitude earthquake, it doesn't just really feel. It does feel well. It doesn't really feel stronger than a 5.7. It literally moves the physical ground by 10 times more. If we jump back to like a 4.7 earthquake, just for an example, it would be dealing out like 100 times the physical displacement. Um, so in reality, it escalated to a minor rattle to a catastrophic and incredibly fast earthquake. The that Nestor experienced was a 6.7. And where he lives at, and he didn't really mention, but he told us that where he lives at was in Palmdale. And in Palmdale, there's a fault line. In California, there's a fault line called the San Andreas Fault Line that spans 800 miles across the state of California and the coastline of the West Coast. And in Palmdale, it strictly cuts through it. So after the earthquake, it was very intimate for Nestor to recover afterwards and help others to safety. Now, for standard precautions for emergency plans, everyone is assumed to quickly run down the stairs, jump over debris, or drive themselves to safety. But what about their neighbors, the elderly, the disabled, the young children? They are people who are in canes or walkers or wheelchairs. Well, first responders, after the earthquake hits and there's destruction, it is very important for these first responders to act quickly and help whoever is endangered and to assure that they are in emergency shelters where they have immediate backup power to contact their loved ones in case if they get lost.
And thank you, Justin, for letting us know about this. To prepare, you first, of course, you want your bag. Like how Nestor is a great example. He already has his bag. You need water, canned food, and he forgot to mention this, but he did bring a first aid kit, as anything could happen. These are like really critical utilities that are needed to bring, since anything could happen at any moment. Um, and stuff that he brought also were like a flashlight and a radio. For a flashlight, what if it's like dark? You just can't see. And a radio, you just need to know any updates on the outside world. And I like the way he thought of the whole idea of bringing extra batteries, just in case if your flashlight runs out, or like what if your radio dies, all of those kind of stuff. To keep it short for all of you audiences out there, make sure to be prepared. Bring your bag, water, canned food, and first aid kit. Others like a flashlight and a radio, walkie talkies, so you can communicate with others, you know. And also, everybody has this. Bring your phone. is almost like the number one thing you communicate with and something that you use almost every single day. Anyways, and that is it for this podcast. We would like to thank again Nestor for coming on over and staying with us through this interview. It is, sometimes it is unfortunate, but we just like to thank you for, letting us know about all of the things that have happened to you, how it was such a miracle for you to survive, and to let all of these other people to be informed on what has happened and what you could do to be better. All right. That is it for the podcast. Thank you so much.